speaking that we're doing this Friday. So
Mhm.
if you don't mind, just asking a couple of questions.
Yeah, be glad to answer them.
So the first one is, when and why did you want to become a quarterback?
Uh, Probably after my eighth grade year. Up at that point, I was just checking football out to see what football was all about. Really didn't play any organized football because we didn't have all the pony, midget, pee-wee leagues that you guys had a chance to grow up in. So we played, street ball and pickup ball in the lots and those kind of things. But junior high school, there was a formal football team, and I went out for it in my eighth grade year. But I just went out for football. I really wasn't thinking about what position I was going to play at that time. But as things would have it, I ended up being noticed that they thought I had good leadership skills and asked me to try the quarterback position. And I did. The late, great, famous Dennis Green, he was a year ahead of me, so he was the starting quarterback in his ninth grade year. I was his backup. We went down to Carlisle. We were playing a game down there. Dennis really wasn't a quarterback, but he was a good athlete, best athlete on the team. But they had designed their defense to kind of concentrate on his ability as an athlete, which bogged down our offense. They decided to put me in and put Dennis at the tailback spot, which he was more suited for. And my play during that particular game allowed me then to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year. And at that point, I realized that there was something there. There was something to my ability to play. And so I really started to concentrate on it. And from that point on, I really started to go to work and try to become the best quarterback that I could become.
Yeah, I had like the same. Oh, you can go ahead, Mr. Watson.
No, so one game determined if you want to be the quarterback, huh?
Yeah, success, man. Early success, and everybody being pretty happy about the situation turning out the way that it did. We were down, pretty significantly, a couple of touchdowns. I think we ended up losing by maybe one touchdown, or might have even been a couple of points. But we did come back, and the flow and the movement of the team, which is what I think everybody appreciated, is that everything offensively just moved better with me at the quarterback position.
Okay.
Next question, like what type of quarterback were you? Were you like a dual threat, pro style?
Yeah, triple threat.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, just finding new ways in my game just to improve on. Because I'm not really great, like mastered the thing with my legs yet, like moving around the pocket and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to improve my game any way I can right now.
Well, that's what you should be doing. Looking at all the subtleties that's going to make you the best that you can become. Obviously you have the skill set that looks like you have the mindset for it. You throw the ball well, you got a good release and all that kind of stuff. But when you think you've arrived too soon, then you're going to stop improving. So always look at yourself and look at other quarterbacks and see the things that you think you might want to add to your game, and then go to work on them. Because if you got enough in your toolbox, then you're going to be able to deal with just about any situation that presents itself.
Next question.
But as far as I said triple threat. Yeah, so I run past, but I always saw myself as because once I started to play the quarterback position and realized that there was this thing in people's minds between a black quarterback and a white quarterback, I kind of just looked at the position of what a quarterback is supposed to be all about. What's a prime time, big time quarterback supposed to be all about? And then use your abilities accordingly. I think one of the things that happens to black quarterbacks is that their natural ability and their ability to use their legs jumps out of people, and then people ride their abilities as far as they can take them, but they don't really help develop the black quarterback to be a good all-around quarterback. So my goal was always to look at the quarterback and realize that can I read defenses? Can I check down? Can I read my progressions? And then can I use my natural God-given ability to assist me to maybe put me over the top? But I never really had any interest in just being a running quarterback. I always wanted to be a quarterback that when you looked at me, you didn't look at the color, you say, hey, this guy knows exactly what he's doing, and he can compete against anybody regardless. So that was always my goal.
What was your like high school career like?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Couldn't have come at a better time. And obviously there's always a blessing of timing and when you're born and being at the right time in the right place, all that adds into success. But I happened to be coming through John Harris at a time that they still call the golden years around here, where there was just a success for 10 or 12 years where we won the league title. We won a couple of state championships during that time. The 3 years that I went to high school, we were undefeated, 33-0. Wow. So it just afforded me all kinds of opportunities. But a lot of it was, obviously, I had the ability to do what I did. A lot of it was I was at the right time at the right place with a lot of great athletes and a lot of great coaches.
That's nice.
Oh, so you never lost in high school, 33-0?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 33-0. And I always give credit to, so I'll take an opportunity to give credit to it during this session as well. But Stilton was always our benchmark. Stilton always gave us our toughest game of the year. We had utmost respect for what was coming up out of Stilton. And we knew that each year, no matter how many teams we were blowing out and running over, if we couldn't get the job done against Stilton, then the season would have been a failure. And to prove that, during the 3 years that I was there, we won against Stilton 6-0 with a defensive touchdown being the score that won the game in my sophomore year. We won 7-0 down on Cottage Hill with a defensive touchdown being the only touchdown scored to win the game. And then my senior year was the offensive explosion that everybody thought they were going to see. We won 34-27 up at John Harris. So we never beat Stilton by any more than 7 points. And that's a credit to the school, and that's why I have the utmost respect for Stilton. They were John Harris's measuring stick.
Wow.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I know, and I tell the Stilton guys that I play with them when I bump into them, utmost respect for them, and it had to be real tough to always come on the short end of the stick when they played us. But losing any one, we could have lost any one or any 3 of those games, and the narrative about John Harris and Stilton would totally be changed here today. So utmost respect to those brothers.
Next question. What type of racial barriers did you face throughout your journey as a black quarterback?
All the ones that came along with race, just being black. So, most parents taught in their homes, you got to be 10 times better. You can't make the stupid mistakes that are going to get you either suspended or put out. You got to tough it up. You got to swallow hard, because you're going to run into stuff that's not fair out there. So those are the kinds of character traits that I grew up on, and they were reinforced by the family and by everybody in the community who knew what the lay of the land was. And all the barriers that you could think about were out there. Did you get a fair shot? The playing field might not always be level, very seldom is level. I didn't run into a lot of overt racism, more covert, the kind of slick kind of stuff where we're in your corner, but we're not. But identifying that and just realizing that that was out there to deal with was something that I had to deal with as well.
Yeah, because I can tell nowadays, like, they just really judge, like, quarterbacks. Like, I saw they did it to Lamar Jackson in the draft. Like, they were just giving him stereotypes, and then that's why he fell, like, later into the draft and stuff like that. So I was just really reflecting it off. Like, this, my motivation, like, to elevate my game, because they would point out anything towards, like, an African-American quarterback and stuff like that. Like, I just saw it in, like, the past couple of years.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that.
And obviously the things that you see now are 1,000% better than when I came through, because now blacks have been openly accepted into the quarterback position, which doesn't mean that there's not still going to be some discrimination and some subtle tricks of racism and all that kind of stuff. But the opportunities that you guys have now is far greater than anything we had. So I'm glad to see the door has been blown open wide enough now that, it's not, are you going to get an opportunity? It's basically, what are you going to do with the opportunity that you get?
Sure. Well, my dream school is like USC, but like, what is it like down there? Like how's the environment and stuff, like down around the campus and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, we're talking, 40, 50 years later right now. When I went through USC, the conditions of the world and everything else were obviously a lot different than they are. But it was very nice. I mean, California is California, LA is LA. So when you think of niceness of weather and a lot of different stuff to do and different sites that you can see and be a part of and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't get much better. So LA and California as a whole was a great choice. The University of Southern Cal was a big enough school, and I know my goal when I was coming out of high school was that I wanted to go to a big school. I thought that I had that kind of talent, and I thought my academics were strong enough. So USC, the Michigans, the Ohio States, and all the Penn States, Notre Dame, all the big schools that were out there, that was one of the schools that I saw myself being able to play at. There was just something about the California experience and the Trojans, watching them every year go to the Rose Bowl, the color of their uniform, the California scene, and all that kind of stuff. Something that was intriguing about that. So when I had a chance to go visit, I wanted to take it. I wasn't quite sure whether that was the place for me or not. But when I went out and had the actual campus experience, because unbeknown to many, USC is located really in the heart of the African American community, which made my choice a lot easier because I always knew that I could step right off campus and feel at home. But the bigger thing was that it offered me the opportunities that I was looking for as a whole. And one is that I wanted to play, and I wanted to play relatively early in my career, and I wanted to play the quarterback position. And I wanted to get a strong academic school to go to. Strong academics, there was no question. Coach John McKay basically guaranteed me that I was going to get a fair shot to start at the quarterback position. I was taking him on his word, but he lived up to his word. He did give me a fair shot. And then to kind of guarantee the shot, I did my homework. I didn't want to go to a big school that already had an incumbent quarterback who was successful. So at USC, they had a senior quarterback named Steve Sagi, who played during O.J. Simpson's last year. Excellent 5'10" quarterback, very bright, very smart, knew how to run a team. But he was leaving, and there was no incumbent quarterback behind him. So everybody who was going to be trying out for the position, they didn't really have any time. And there were some big name guys. They ended up being big name guys. But back then, Mike Holmgren, who ended up coaching for, I think, the Green Bay Packers. I think he was out of Seattle. He was a quarterback that was in the competition. Who else was there? His name slips me right now, but there was another quarterback that ended up coaching for the New York Giants who was there. And then they were bringing in a couple of freshmen, and they were bringing in a junior college transfer. But all the quarterbacks who were there, none of them had really played any time for USC other than Mike Holmgren, and he had a series of injuries that kept him from playing a lot of time. So when I looked at the landscape, I said, this is the best school for me to go to in order to play, because I'm going to have to beat out whoever these guys are, but they're going to have to beat me out, and they don't have any incumbency to play off of. So that was the ticket. I liked the school, I liked the academic part of it, and I liked my chances against anybody in what I would call as fair a competition as I was going to get.
Yeah,
Jim Fassel.
Oh, Jim Fassel, yeah, that coach,
Jim Fassel was, he was the junior college transfer that they were bringing in, and Holmgren was already there, and then they brought in 3 freshmen.
Another question. Did you face any racial things in the Canadian League during your time?
Again, they would have been more covert than overt, and Canada different mindset, different attitude toward racism, but they did have racism and discrimination in Canada as well. But no, I really can't pinpoint any single moment where racism or discrimination would have been a major factor for anything that happened during my career up there.
Do you still think there is like discrimination against black quarterbacks in the NFL now today?
Well, I would say there certainly is, even though the door is wide open and there's more black quarterbacks in the NFL than ever before. I think their position to hold on to their jobs is less. I mean, you got to come in and you got to make it happen. You're not going to get as long a leash as others to prove yourself. I think the backup positions might have more African American quarterbacks as well. But by and large, when you look at the numbers of African American quarterbacks that have now been in the league and played in the league, that are still in the league, that are starting or in backup positions, there's still work to be done. There's still opportunities to be gained. But by and large, we're in there well enough now that now it's all about making it happen and keep on pushing and try to be the best that we can be and obtain as many positions as we possibly can.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, as a future college black quarterback, like, do you have any advice for me to like handle like worst come to worst racism when I get up there or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, try to take color off of it. You know, try to take anything that's not relevant to you being the best person that you can become, and being the best quarterback that you become, or the best doctor or lawyer. Because a lot of that stuff holds you back on your own. I mean, it's out there. Some of it's perceived to be out there, but regardless of whether it's out there or not, the cream is going to rise to the top. So my advice to any student, any athlete, or any person trying to achieve is become the best that you possibly can become. Work as hard as you can to become the best that you can become. Have all the skills that you need to be successful. Put it out there 100% and then live with it, you know. Sometimes it's just not meant to be, sometimes it will be, but you're going to find in life, as I think we've all found, that I've given 100% sometimes and 100% wasn't good enough. Yeah. And it wasn't racism, it was just the way the cards fell. The touchdown pass that I threw got dropped. The touchdown pass that I thought I threw, I overthrew a little bit. Or the field goal kicker missed the field goal at a certain point in time. You lose a game and then you can't blame it on racism, because if it wasn't racism, it wasn't racism. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes on. But prepare yourself to be a well-rounded person that's always striving to do the very best that you can be. And then you can go to bed every night and sleep comfortably and feel good about yourself.
Yeah, Toni Morrison said it best. She's like, I don't care what they think or feel about me. I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. They're not going to stop me from writing my books because they don't like me. I don't care if they don't like me. That's always said that's like stress on them. If you don't like me because of who I am, you're stressing yourself out. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one thing I had on there. Why didn't you go to the NFL, Jim?
Well, I didn't get drafted number one.
Oh, okay.
So I sat out that year, and then I was working with a sports management company, signing athletes and that kind of stuff, and helping work on their contracts and everything. So I did that for a year, and during that year, the company that I was with, which was called World Sports Management, we had signed Johnny Rodgers, who was our biggest signee, 1972 Heisman Trophy winner. And during our negotiations and contract negotiations, Johnny decided to weigh his opportunities in Canada against his opportunities in the United States. And the contracts that they were offering and the money that they were offering, the opportunity they were offering, were better for him in Canada. Well, during that whole negotiation process, my name came up that I was part of the team. And Marv Levy, one of the best, greatest coaches, bar none, in the NFL and in Canada, he was getting his first opportunity to become a head coach with the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal. He was George Allen's special teams coach with the Washington Redskins at that time. And he had just gone up to Canada to take on the head coaching job of the Montreal Alouettes. My name came up, and he said, Jimmy Jones from USC. And he said, yeah. And they said, well, is he still in any kind of shape? Does he still want an opportunity? And so they called me and they asked me, and I said, yeah, I'd take an opportunity, but I only want an opportunity at quarterback. So he guaranteed me an opportunity to come up to Montreal and only try out for the quarterback position as a free agent. And the rest was history. I took the opportunity, I went up, I tried out, I made the team. I made the backup position behind George Myra, who was another NFL legend. And George played for 1 year, and then I think the USFL Football League was opening up, so he parlayed that for an opportunity for him to come back down into the United States and take advantage of that, which opened the door for starting a position at Montreal. So when I got up there and we had some early success, went to a couple early Grey Cups, which is similar to the Super Bowl down here. That was kind of my niche then to say, well, maybe this is where I'm going to get my pro experience. So I decided to stay there and had a 7-year career up there.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Man, Marv Levy, Buffalo Bills, huh?
Yeah. Yep. So my experiences allowed me to be around a lot of really great coaches, a lot of great athletes and players. So I'm thankful for my journey. And it could have been worse or it could have been better, but I'm thankful for my journey.
So they never tried to convert you to like a DB or a receiver?
We never talked about anything else. It was quarterback only.
That's it.
That was it. I was only going up there to play quarterback. Otherwise, I would have just used my degree and took on a job or a position and made a career out of whatever I decided to do. But at that point,